Yes, very good morning. So we are into the second day of the revision series. Yesterday we saw what? The introduction to the legal framework, right? And we saw contract law, which is the major portion of it. So comparatively other lessons, even though they have 20 marks, the content which we are going to look at it very smaller in nature when compared to contract law, right? The major thing we have already covered. Now today we will be covering Sale of Goods Act and Negotiable Instrument Act. So since the coverage is low, we will be completing it soon. So don't worry. Unlike yesterday, we will not take long hours. Good. So first we will go with Sale of Goods Act. So what is a contract? We have already seen. What is a contract? Enforceable by law. What is enforceable by law? Agreement enforceable by law. So you have all those things behind it. Agreement is set of promises. All these things are going to come. What is a promise? Offer and acceptance. Now that is for any contract. That is for any contract which you and I can enter into. The purpose is not being mentioned specifically. We can contract for any purposes. Right? Now, what if the contract is specifically for the sale of goods? Then it has to come under the category of Sale of Goods Act. And it is only speaking about goods, nothing other than that. Because why we have to infer this is Indian Contracts Act we have seen. Under Indian contracts only, sale of goods as well as the partnership was also there. Subsequently, they repealed it separately. They took it separately and made it into a law in 1930 and 1932. 1930 is Sale of Goods Act, 1932 is Partnership Act. So now whatever we are going to see is going to have some nature of contract in it. Here also somebody is going to make an offer for sale of something and the other person is accept. So offer and acceptance is going to be there. All other elements saying that smuggled goods, he is going to sell some smuggled goods. Can he do? No. So in addition to the 6 valid elements of contract, any essential elements of a valid contract, plus we are going to see there are few other things, conditions to be satisfied to be brought under the Sale of Goods Act. Clear? So we start with, when does Sale of Goods Act apply? 1. The key aspects says when there is a first condition is to be a movable goods. It leads with movable goods. What do you mean by movable goods? Transferable in possession, right? Immovable goods or immovable properties are there. Movable goods, immovable properties are there. Immovable properties are not covered under Sale of Goods Act. It has a different act called Transfer of Property Act. We need not worry about it. Okay. So here we are speaking about only movable goods. And movable goods, I am going to lend it to you. Should I go for Sale of Goods Act? No. So they are saying these 3 to be also present. What are those 3? The act is going to deal with the contract where there is a movable goods involved, and the contract is to do a transfer of title or ownership. Title or ownership, effective as sale. So the ownership, title slash property slash ownership slash title are one and the same. When I say I am going to move my title to you, transfer my title to you means I am transferring my ownership to you. I am transferring my property to you means transferring my ownership to you. Clear? So that has to be kept in mind. So this transaction should involve ownership transfer. 1. 2. It should be transferred from between 2 persons. There will be a buyer and a seller. Obviously, I cannot sell the goods to myself, right? So there shall be a buyer and a seller for those purposes. Then third, most important part, where how it is differentiating from the other general contracts. We say consideration, right? Consideration. What do you mean by consideration? Something in return which we receive, quid pro quo. They are not even speaking about what is the consideration. You do something, I will do something. You bring lunch for me today, I'll get lunch for you tomorrow. There is a consideration. But here, while I'm selling the goods, the consideration should always be in a definitive price. Price is always going to be in what? Monetary terms, right? So, sale of goods act is that it involves transfer of ownership on the movable goods, and against which you are going to take a consideration which is going to be a definitive price. Definitive price. These should be there. Only then you will be able to see the provisions of sale of goods act. Clear? So the essential conditions are being listed out here. You can see this. There shall be two parties who shall be the buyer, seller and the buyer. The goods cannot be bought from some. Obviously, I will not be selling to myself, right? So there shall be two parties, buyer and seller. Yes. Two. It should involve transfer of ownership. Why they are insisting on this again and again is it is not mere transfer of a possession. If I am going to say that please have my water bottle, I will come back and collect it tomorrow means whether I am transferring my ownership to you? No, I am just transferring the possession. Possessional transfer is not going to be, you are going to lease a car. You are going to lease a car. You will gain ownership over the car. Who will have the car? You will have the car. You will have the possession of the car. The ownership is not with you. So that's why they are clearly demarcating the contract should involve transfer of ownership. Then 3. Subject matter shall be movable property. So this definition we have to remember. Movable property includes what? Movable property is all goods. This is the definition which we are looking at. The definition of goods is given under 2 subsection 7 of Sale of Goods Act. It says that goods includes all movable property. Goods means all movable property, excludes what? Actionable claims and money. It is not included. Then what it includes? But includes stock, shares, crops, right? Growing crops they would have been seeing. Growing crops, grass, things attached to the land, severed before, agreed to be severed before sale. Right? Agreed to be severed before sale is the language they use. So meaning what? So all sort of movable goods, it could be stocks, it could be shares, other things, which is even grown in the land, but I am going to sell how? Only after cutting it. Severe means what? Severe, the word severe means to cut, to be separated from the land before the sale is being taken place. So those are included in goods, right? Then what about the consideration? Definitely should be money. Price amount should be in money. It cannot be barter. I am going to give you, sir, I will give you rice. Can you give me dal? In consideration, it is possible, but under Sale of Goods Act, you cannot bring it in. It is not sale of goods. It is not possible without a monetary consideration. Clear? Good. Then when it comes to the sale or agreement to sale, there is a differentiation which we should know. Sale contract is a contract which is executed now. Agreement to sale is what? We will agree now to say that we will execute a sale contract in future, right? So that is how it is being differentiated. So you can see what are the main differences here. The transfer of property happens when transfer of property is transfer of ownership. Soon after the sale, the transfer of ownership shall happen, right? Property passes from the seller to buyer immediately, but in an agreement to sale, it is going to happen only in a future date and time. So the transfer of ownership takes place only at a future time or subject to the conditions. Subject to the conditions on fulfillment by the buyer. Buyer has to pay an advance. Only then, or make the full payment on a so and so date. Only then the ownership will get transferred. 2. Type of a contract is basically executed. You already did it. Both the parties has completed their work. He has delivered the goods. I have made the payment. Then you call executed contract. When it called executory, it is going to be done. So agreement to sale is basically you promise. Now you make a promise. Let's carry out the sale on next week Wednesday. Then only on next week Wednesday it is going to be the sale which is going to happen. Until then, it is executory in nature. You are going to perform. What are the types of goods is going to be involved in? Existing and specific goods, which are already available. You can see it. It is available for sale now. But when it comes to agreement to sell, it is most probably where it is future goods or contingent goods. The current, what do you mean by future good or contingent good? The goods are not present, existing at the time of entering into this agreement, right? They will be producing or manufacturing, acquiring it post to the agreement is being taken. So when we go to some shop and all, you will say the stock is not coming nowadays. If you want, I will order and give. If you want, I will order and give. You have to wait for another 2 days. Then you will agree, no problem. I will wait for 2 days. You tell me after 2 days, I will come and buy. At that point in time, you are only making an agreement to sell, agreement to buy. For him, it is agreement to sell. He says that once I receive the goods, I will let you know. You can come and collect it, pay for it. Clear? So that way we can differentiate it. Then when it comes to breach of contract, what happens? Breach of contract. What is breach? Yesterday, the last point we should have seen, breach is failure to perform by one party, violation of a contractual terms, we call it as. So in case of a contract of sale is being breached, what happens? What you can claim from the other party? Price as well as damages, because the goods are already given to you. Goods I have already given to you. You are not paying. I have been asking you repeatedly, right? So you have to pay me. I'll go and file a suit against you. You will be paying not only the price, also damages for the delay, right? Because transfer of property has moved, ownership has been with you. You have been enjoying the property, but you are not paying. The breach has been established. But in case of an agreement to sell, whether anything has moved to you, no, I am just failing in doing the promise which I have made to buy in a later date. I had to do, but I didn't do it. It is only a breach which doesn't cost you the price. Price is not, because the enjoyment of the rights on the property is not being taken by you, because the transfer of property has not been done. So the buyer will only be able to claim the damages, because you agreed to buy. Now you are saying no, I am going to be lost for it. So probably I will be able to sue only for damages, a monetary compensation, because you are not performing it, right? I have told you that I will buy from you, right? Subsequently, I say that no, I don't want to buy from you. Now you cannot claim any price from me, only damages can be lost. What about the risk of loss? Loss is always associated with risk, is also associated with risk of loss, meaning is to be always seen along with ownership. There is no doubt about it. Who is the owner? Who is the owner? He is going to have the risk. If I am giving my mobile to you, right, and you are dropping it down, who will be having the pain more, you or me? Because I am the owner. What if I sell the mobile to you? You are holding the mobile now, already transferred. Now you are dropping it. Who will have the pain? Or you know? Because the risk of loss is always associated with ownership. So in case of a sale, the ownership is already transferred, so buyer has to take up the risk of loss. In case of an agreement to sell, it is still with the seller, so seller has to take up the risk of loss. So that is what says. Irrespective of the possession, you are, I have. You drop my mobile, I am the owner. The possession is with you, but still I will be the one to have the pain. Because irrespective of the possession, the ownership will be associated with the risks and losses. Clear? Then, what are the types of goods which we are looking at? Existing, future goods or contingent goods. Existing goods or specific goods are which is already in existence while at the time of executing a contract. I am going to a shop, selecting this product I want. It is already existing. They are going to just take and give it to you. Right? So it is already possessed by the seller. Future goods are either manufactured, acquired or produced after the entering the contract. I go and place an order, then only they will start doing, and they will be delivering it in a future date. That's why future goods and contingent goods are coming under where? The agreement to sell. Right? Is that right? So after this only, after I place an order only, we will start doing it. Then when it comes to contingent good, what is the contingency in nature? Generally, may or may not happen. I might receive the goods or may not receive the goods. So you are asking for a very unique pen, right? A writing pen, and you are a collector of it. There is one pen which is coming into the auction in Bombay, and I agree that I'm going to participate in this and getting you this. There could be possibility where the auction could not be given to me. Is that right? Is it that I would be able to buy it at any cost? He would have said that up to 20,000 I'm okay. I'm going there. The first price itself 18,000. People go on and they have reached 25,000. I can't buy this. So I'll only able to make a commitment. I'll go and attend, participate. If at all I am able to acquire these goods, I'll be able to sell it to you. Right? It is dependent on what? A collateral event. That is what contingent means, right? The separate event is going to say whether you will be able to do this or not. May or may not happen. So those goods on arrival basis, right? Or harvest, out of an harvest you will be going to take it, right? So those are having future and contingency also together. Let's assume there is a harvest which is going to happen. If everything goes well, harvest will happen, which is a future goods, right? What if because of some rains or floods will not be able to do. But at the point of entering into agreements itself, we will have that doubtful. I think we might get it, we may not get it. Right? The goods have been continuously in the month of December, we are seeing rains. If at all this year, if it doesn't rain, I will sell you the harvest. Then it will become contingency in nature. Right? So acquisition depends upon certain uncertain contingency. Uncertainty is also there. It's the same language of contingency there. For an example, Ramcharan merchant contracts in January with his friend, a farmer, to buy potatoes in June. So when they are entering into a contract, January, to have a contract of sale to be executed in June. It is basically first an agreement to sell. And what is the type of goods which we are looking at? Because as on the date of agreement, we don't have goods in hand. It is not an existing goods. It is going to be harvested. So the fresh harvest at the fixed prices we have what agreed. The nature of goods is going to be a future goods, which is going to be harvested only after that. Clear? Clear? Good. Then there is one small topic on document of title of goods. It's also basically comes on to the definition. They define the document of title of goods means what? They are not giving any meaning of it. Saying this is what the document of title of goods will contain this. No, they are only inclusive definition saying that these are all bill of lading, railway certificate, right? Warehouse keeper certificate, all this thing, railway receipt, warehouse keeper certificate, wharfing certificate are all document of title of goods. Document of title means what you have to remember. Ownership of goods. So whoever having this document would be able to claim those goods. So be whatever the nature of the document may be. So based on this, somebody will be able to ascertain whether the person can take delivery of the goods or not. So you have to just remember the inclusive definition of document of title of goods, because they may ask a question, which of the following is not a document of title of goods? They will give all right answer and one wrong answer. You have to select. The following are the document of title of goods, except means they are asking what is not done. So bill of lading, dock warrant, warehouse or wharfing certificate, railway receipts are included in the definition. They are not giving the meaning of the definition. They are giving only listing out this. These are all the document of title.
What is bill of lading?
Bill of lading is when you ship it with the in the vessel you will ship it, no? Vessel or conveyance, nothing but ship. You will be sending the cargo, right? So at that time they will be giving bill of lading. Right? With this only at the other end of the country or the whatever the other country which you are exporting to, only with this bill of lading they will be able to take. Similarly, if somebody is exporting from their country to us, they will also send it through bill of lading to us. This bill of lading has to be with us in order to claim the ownership of the goods. right? It is predominantly related to this sea-ways transport. Good. Can you move on? Any doubts? Yes, good. Next, since we are speaking about the transfer of ownership, right? That is the main point which we are looking at, right? Title or ownership, right? So when a title or ownership shall happen, I have the willingness to buy from you, but you don't have a willingness to sell. Will it happen? Possible? No. There is a car which you are driving. I'm very fond of that car. I like it so much. I'm even offering you. I will buy this car at any rate. Please give me. But you are not at all willing. Whether the sale can take place? No. Both the parties have to agree, and agree to what? To transfer the ownership. Right? You have to ascertain what are the goods to be transferred, and both the parties has to have the intention to transfer the ownership from one to another. Only then we will be able to execute a sale contract. So the prerequisite says about the goods must be ascertained. Right? Unascertained goods may not be passed. We want to do some transaction. What transaction? You should buy something. I'm opened a new store. I'm asking you, definitely you should buy something. You are coming to the shop. Okay, get me something means what I will get. You have to say what to get. So ascertainment of goods is necessary. This is the example which we generally take. I go to a fruit vendor, right? In Tinagar, there is a fruit vendor who has all the fruits. I'm going to stand before him and say, please give me from fruits. What you will ask? What fruits you want? Take that basket and start collecting. I'll put a weight and give you that, right? You have to ascertain what are the goods. So you ascertain that few kgs of oranges and few kgs of apple. Then you have ascertained the goods. Out of all the goods unascertained, you cannot execute a transfer. Only when you ascertain it, this would be the property which is going to get transferred, the goods which are going to get transferred, right? Then you have selected the goods. You have selected the goods and carrying it to your hand, but all of a sudden, that shopkeeper doesn't like you. He doesn't want to execute the sale with you. Will it transfer? No. Again, the intention of the parties to buy and sell should be there. Both the parties have to have a consensus to execute the sale. Only then it will happen. These are very two important things involving in transfer of ownership. Even in the car, which I said, we have ascertained the car. Right? I have ascertained that I should buy your car. I should buy your vehicle. But I have an intention to buy. You don't have an intention to sell. So when we don't meet it, then probably there will not be an execution. Though ascertainment is there, intention of the parties, if it is not being there to execute it, ownership, you will say what? You like it, you like the car, have it for 1 week and give it back. If you like it so much, you have it for 1 week and give it back. You are not ready to transfer your ownership, right? So intention of the parties to change the ownership or transfer the ownership should be there. Only then you can go for a sale contract to be executed. Clear? Good. So there are scenarios where the intention is unclear. When the transfer of ownership happens, we have to go for these rules to be ascertained. So this is one first category where the goods, specific goods are there. The goods is already there. Goods is already been identified. So when does the transfer of ownership happen? When I deliver the goods to you or when? So in case of the first three categories are going to be on, at what time the transfer of ownership happens on case of any specific goods, when in case of an existing goods, it's in a deliverable state. You would have seen this deliverable state to be put into a deliverable state, but there will be a deliverable state. In order to ascertain price, they have to do an activity. So all these things we would have seen. Just repetition of this we are going to see. In case of the goods which are already in existence, when the goods is being transferred to you, it is in a deliverable state, then passes, the contract is made itself. So when we agree, it is already passed, right? Then when it comes to the goods which are put into to be, it is not in deliverable. You have to understand here deliverable state is there, here to be put into deliverables. So currently it is not. Currently it is not in a deliverable state. Immediately you cannot give this, right? You are going to a shop and asking for pineapple to be cut into pieces, right? You are ordering pineapples, some salad or something, and what he has to do? He has to do some activity to put it into an deliverable state to consume, to be consumed. He is just placing the entire pineapple to you. Have, eat it. You will have it. No, it is not in a deliverable state. You have ascertained your goods, but it is not in a deliverable state. The seller has to do something to put it into a deliverable state. Only then the ownership is ready to pass on to you. Right? Then when it comes to deliverable state, already it is deliverable state, but in order to make the sale, you need to do some activity of ascertainment of weight, price, right? Or test it. So the bulb is there. I want to buy 10 bulbs. The person will do what? He will test it and give. Otherwise, he will come back and say that this fight is not working. So he will test it. Only then he will give it to you. So even though the goods are in deliverable state, in order to ascertain the price, he is doing a test. So those areas also, when the act is done and plus buyer is being given a notice that ascertainment is being completed. So even in the first example, let's assume the fruit vendor whom we are approaching, they have already kept in packed bags, 1 kg bag, right? What you are going to do? Now waiting. So it's going to say 1 kg bag, 100 rupees. You pick that, pay him and come back. That's all. It's already in deliverable state. You go to a shop, buy chocolates, biscuits. It's already in deliverable state. You pay, get the delivery. It is already in deliverable state. Nothing is required. 2, when you go to a juice shop or a eatable place, right? You will order. It's already there. In front of you, they will be having all this fruits. Are you going to consume it as it is? You are ordered for juice. What he has to do is put it to a deliverable state in order to place it before you. Only then it passes to you. Right? Then when it comes to the last one, you are going to buy something in loose. Right? You are collecting, or even the fruits which is in the tray. You are going to select those fruits and you are saying that give me this. I need all this which is in the basket. What the shopkeeper is going to do? He will ask, please give me, you will wait it. Only then I will be able to ascertain the price. By eyes, I cannot ascertain the price. Right? So in those cases, it is going to be at the time of ascertaining the price, the deliverable state. Even though it is deliverable state, once you ascertain the price, you will be taking it. Right? This is one category of specific goods which is already there. When it is unascertained future goods, right? Unascertained or future goods, where unascertained is which is unappropriated. Ascertainment, appropriation is equivalent, right? Out of the entire basket or out of the entire tray, all the goods are unascertained. When you start picking up, it becomes ascertained. So who will ascertain that? Who will ascertain? So here you have to remember one language, right? There is buyer and a seller, right? A seller and a buyer are there. Either the seller proposes and buyer accepts it, or the buyer proposes and the seller accepts it. How it works? Sometimes you pick the fruits into the basket. Sometimes he will pick the fruits into the basket. What if he is going to put some rotten fruits into the basket? What you will say? Don't put that. Change. You have to accept it. Only then you will be able to take up the delivery. Right? So they will say, the language would say, the seller with the assent of the buyer, the confirmation of the buyer, he may appropriate it, right? Ascertain it, or the buyer will the assent of the seller may appropriate it. So once appropriation is being done, the property shall pass. Right? Then when it comes to delivery to the carrier, this is related to goods which might be in even future goods or which is going to be delivered later. Right? So when you are going to have a transaction with the person who is in the next state, you are shipping it today. from his carrier. He has sent a person in a lorry and you are loaded to the lorry. In the meanwhile, right, he is asking whether it has been sent. He said it is already done. So when the delivery happens is immaterial because the carrier has already taken the possession of those goods. Right? I have appropriated to you. Whether I can sell the same goods to somebody else? No, I have already sent it to you. You both are coming to my shop and you're asking for some rice bags. I say, okay, I am asking my employees to load 50 rice bags on each of the vehicle. Out of 200, 300 bags in my shop, I'm asking them to load in your vehicle. Then it is already appropriated to you. Delivery to the carrier will also be considered as a ascertainment has been completed. The property has passed to you. Right? Then the last one, comparing all these things, this could be a very predominant understanding which you can see in the question. They might look for in the question paper, right? What do you mean by goods on approval or sale or return basis? Goods on approval or sale or return basis is basically to improve sales. Improve sales. They are saying the strategy. They are saying that please have it. If you don't, I'll take it back. If you don't, please try. If you don't like it, I will take it back. Please have it in your store. If it didn't get sold, I'll take it back. So all those are strategies. When at that what point in time the sale could be recognized. So they are simply saying that one, when the other party signifies, he himself says yes, the goods are very nice, I am accepting it, I am taking it. Then it is where he signifies his approval or acceptance, the sale has happened, recognized, ownership has passed. Right? But in second category, he is not saying you that the goods have been liked by him or he is adopting the transaction. He is taking the transaction. He is not signifying. Signifying means what? Telling you. Calling you and telling you, yes, the goods are okay, I am taking it. But he is not saying anything, but silently he started adopting the transaction. He is starting using the goods. He started consuming the goods. So in those cases, I need not wait for signifies the necessity to me. There is no necessity for me to wait and understand, oh, he is eating, but still let him signify, only then I will accept it. Not necessary. So when he adopts the transaction, when he uses it, probably I will say, yes, that transaction is already done where the sale has been recognized because he has started using it. Clear? Then when it comes to the last area where, so he is neither signifying his approval nor using it. We don't know whether he is using or not. But I have given a timeline saying that within 15 days, if you don't like it, return it. Or if I am not giving a date, it's reasonable time. Very good. So it is reasonable time. He is neither signifying his approval. I don't know whether he is using the goods or not, but he has not returned it within the set time of 15 days or the reasonable time. Then I will say that if the 15 days has elapsed, so he should be taking the transaction. So the property has already passed on to him. So this at least you try to remember in full. So the goods on approval or sale or return basis will be three scenarios where first category where he signifies his approval, two, he doesn't signify his approval but adopts the transaction by using it, or three, if there is a fixed time for return or notification of return, he need not return the goods to you. He can just say notice of return to be given to you. He can just call you and say that on the 14th day evening he is calling and saying, 15th day evening he is calling, I don't like the goods, please come and collect it. That is enough. If he has told us, we will take that, okay, he has not liked the goods, we will go and take the delivery of repossession of those goods. But he has not said anything, 15 days has elapsed, then I will be marking that he is being, the sale has been recognized, right? Transfer of property, etc. Clear? Yes. Then one condition with respect to overriding condition of reservation of right to disposal shall be included in the agreement. What is this? Reservation of right to disposal. The seller is giving the goods to you or appropriating the goods to you to be sold to you. Is keeping it separate. but you are not paying. Whether he can sell it to anybody else? Absolutely. So every sale contract shall swear that in case if you are not performing, I have to reserve my right to dispose it. Otherwise, it will be a loss to me. I will wait till the end of the day. If you are not coming, at the end of the day, I will sell it to anybody. So the right of disposal is available to the seller. It should be, in case of a contracts, it is better that you put it into writing. So that is what insisted. The seller reserves the right until conditions are fulfilled. The property does not pass even with the delivery to the buyer or carrier until the conditions are met. So only after the conditions are met, we will be able to recognize sales. When it is conditional, obviously, because there, in the acceptance, offer acceptance, what we say, acceptance cannot be conditional or it should be only absolute. Conditional or unqualified, we cannot say so. But here, when it comes to that, I may put a condition that the transfer shall happen only at the time of making the full payment. Now we go and buy a house for an example, and now it is nowhere relating to goods, right? Because it is going to come under transfer of property act. Generally, now houses and all is coming, they are built from at the time of raising the house itself, they sell it. They will first enter into a sale of agreement to sell, right? Then comes the sale deed. Sale deed is basically a transaction of sale. First, they will go for agreement to sell, same purpose what we are here seeing here in the previous. They will say that block number 2, first floor, flat 1, right? First floor, flat 1 is going to be for you. We will now enter into agreement that on completion of that, I will be selling it to you. Good. So you will be paying now some advance 5 lakhs or something. On completion of it, I will be. Later, you are unable to pay the balance amount. Should I execute the sale with you? I will cancel the sale. I can sell it to anybody else, no problem. Even in this agreement to sell itself, it will say it is for not only for him, for you also. You can say that if it is not, I am agreeing to buy this, provided you are completing the work before December 2025. They are taking March 26. What you can say? December 2025 was what I agreed. Now you are taking more than December. I want to cancel the contract. Give me back the money. So it is for both the parties where you have the right of disposal. They have the sellers basically has the right of disposal because they are owner of the goods. When it comes to both of you, if there is a condition to be met, then on not meeting of this condition, the contract of sale is repudiatable. It can be cancelled. Right? Clear? So the transfer of ownership has main two requirements where the goods must be ascertained, the intention of the parties to be to transfer the ownership should be present. So that we have to remember. Then this we already know. What is the doctrine of caveat emptor? Let the buyer beware. Let the buyer beware is what we are reading, right? So for years we had the same thing. Let the buyer beware. Every time something goes wrong, hey, it's buyer's fault. You should have bought it while buying it. He bought it only right. He should have seen this. He only bought it right. He should have seen this. Now there is no point in claiming that. Right? So we would have seen examples like on some day, auspicious day, they want you to buy for some puja or something. They want you to buy mud pots. You go to the shop and ask for a mud pot. They give it. Okay. You bring it back to your home, and when you deliver it to your father or mother, they find a small crack in it. They say, "Idella kuda you are not seeing. You failed to see this, huh? Go back. Go back and return it." And when you go there, what the shopkeeper would say, "When I gave it was in perfect mint condition. Maybe while going in the vehicle, you should have damaged it. It is not my problem." At the time, first question he is asking, he is going to ask is, while you collected it from me, did you check? Did you check? Because it is your responsibility to check. I am having 10 to 20 pots here. Maybe one could be damaged. I might lift one thing and check and then only give it to you, but it is also your responsibility to check. I will not take any responsibility. Is it possible? Yes, possible. He might blame it on you. So this not only this shopkeeper, even the courts blamed on the buyer only. That is why the concept of buyer beware are predominantly existing there. The general principle where it is the buyer to satisfy himself, the goods are of the quality and the fitness, who the buyer has to satisfy himself on based on what he has selected. Okay, for his purpose, seller is not generally responsible for the back selection of the buyer. You go and sit in a restaurant, you ask which is good, they will say some suggestions, right? Out of which you may choose it, right? So, but you don't want to get any suggestions. You yourself, seeing the menu card, you order something. You don't know even the contents of it, ingredients of it. When it comes back, it is not so nice. You say that I don't like it. I thought it is really different, something different. You return it. You will accept that. So you should have to ask less. I would have told you. Now you have ordered it and you have already ate a couple of spoons out of it. How can I take it return? This is not some goods which will be able to return. This is the eatable item. Right? So it is a responsibility of the buyer to satisfy himself of what he is requiring and what he is taking as a ownership of goods. Right? He cannot blame it on any other person. This was agreed. This was a practice in earlier, and there was a case called Ward versus Forbes. We would have seen a person got a pigs on auction, right? It only said the pigs are all sold on auction. They never mentioned healthy pigs. So out of the pigs bought on auction, few pigs were infected with typhoid. So not only they died, okay, they also infected the buyer's own pigs. He went out to the court and saying that I paid only for healthy pigs. The other party gave sick or ill pigs, which not only affected the, the, the quantity of the pigs which I bought, also it has affected my own pigs. So you have to take compensation. The court said that no, there is no stipulation unto the auction saying that he is only selling healthy pigs. It is you who should have satisfied yourself that the pigs are healthy. At the time itself, you could have repudiated the contract. You could have said that no, the pigs are not healthy. I don't want to take up this transaction. You failed in doing it. You cannot blame the seller. You have to live with it. So the pigs sold at an auction without a warranty. They were ill with typhoid and the court held that. Who is it held? Nothing but the court held that no implied warranty of health has been there. It is the buyer's duty to check. Was the court's order. Courts held that. But we have to understand what is the how we are always going to give money for quality goods. Right? We are going to purchase it, whether we will be having a doubt, whether it is will be to an extent we will be able to see the fitness and the necessity which would be satisfying my purpose or not. But 100% will not be able to do. We might have to rely on something. So you cannot always blame onto the buyer, right? You cannot always blame on the buyer. So courts, after multiple cases like this, recognize that okay, I understand now. Sometimes it not be the buyer, seller might also be responsible. Then they come with the exceptions where sellers can be made responsible. Is one, when there is a purpose is known and reliance on the seller's skills, judgment and skill and judgment of the seller is being relied on. I come to you, sir, I don't know. Sometimes you know, right? The fathers would be going for purchasing something for their child, right? They will ask, sir, I don't know anything about this. My son wanted or daughter wanted this. Give me the best product in this range. Then he is relying on what? The seller's skill and judgment to choose the correct product to you, for himself or to whom. So then he cannot say that the buyer is responsible. The seller has the responsibility and liable to provide whatever appropriate to him. If he fails in doing that, we cannot blame the buyer. We have to blame only the seller. Right? When the purpose is being told to him and it is being clearly mentioned that I am purely relying on your skill and judgment in choosing this path, then it is the seller. Then sell by description, where it is sold the description of the goods. You sell only these sort of goods. Then I am going to go by description. I will not check, verify anything. If you are going to deal with some medicine and it is says Ayurvedic medicine, I will go by the description. Here it is Ayurvedic. Later you say that now the name is Ayurvedic medicine, but whatever it is homeopathy or any other thing. Then I will say that why you name it. So I will say that to the court, it clearly indicates by way of a description it is Ayurvedic medicine, so that I bought it. I am not a medical person, I will not be able to see all these things. So the court should be convinced that in case if a person is the seller sells by description, the description should match. The buyer just goes by the description and buys that. You cannot make the buyer responsible, seller will be still responsible. The wholesomeness, the word wholesomeness will be always related to foodstuffs, where eatables and provisions. So we are going and eating somewhere, it is implied that what? It is going to be full in nature. Right? We don't doubt it. Somebody asks, you should only have checked. Means, how would I check? I don't know the quantity of how it will be. So the food served for human consumption would be having the seller has to make himself responsible. You cannot, buyer will not be knowing whether it is full in nature or it has been already consumed in part. So it is the seller who has to be made responsible. When the seller commits fraud, seller intentionally, what is fraud? Fraud is always will have an intention, right? So the intention is clearly there. Then how you can say any buyer who comes in, I make a fraudulent transaction. I tell some lies in order to sell those goods to you. Then no way you can find it out. You will not be able to find it out, right? I'm going to anyway tell lies to you. You will have to believe that. Sir, this is the best product in the market. You will not get anything like this. There are higher brands, but even they fail. This is the only thing. I know act in concealment of the fact is there, and I am misrepresenting some facts knowingly. Then it is called fraud. Then obviously I cannot ask the buyer to be responsible. Buyer has been convinced by this fraud. Then also seller should be the one to take the responsibility. Then there is usage of trade where customary market or practices where in that type of transaction, seller shall be liable in case of any loss occurs. We would have seen examples like this coconut and milk and all. We would have said that, right? Remember, you buy a coconut from the nearby shop, you go and open it in the home, you find it empty or it is not as to the quality, it is not fresh, it is already spoiled. What you will do? What you will do? Go back to the store and ask for a new one. So he says that no, you are the buyer, you should have satisfied yourself while buying it. So obviously, how I will be able to see that, right? So it is a customary practice. Trade usage is like that. Similarly, when you buy some milk, you go and packet milk, right? You go and heat it up in the home, and you find that it is being spoiled. Then what you do? You come back and ask for a new packet, and he will accept it. The seller accepts. Okay, I understand. I'll give you a replacement. So there, you cannot say that the buyer should have been responsible. How possible? He is not able to identify it. At least coconut, at least you have the checking mechanisms and all they can do. How can I identify how a milk into a packet is already spoiled or not? Not possible. Clear? So that we have to see accept where there is a usage of trade where in those cases buyer cannot be made responsible. It should be seller should be made responsible. So these are exceptions to the doctrine of caveat emptor. Clear? Any doubts? Any doubts? Good. Now we'll see this transfer of title by non-owners and we'll take a break. Okay, this transfer of title by non-owners goes on the concept of this nemo that for non-habit means what? Very good, excellent. So nobody who himself doesn't have, he himself doesn't have his ownership, how can he transfer a valid title to you? I am having somebody's mobile. Can I sell it to you? Because I am having only the possession. Who is the owner? Somebody else is the owner. I'll not be able to actively transfer it. Right? So generally it's a rule that the non-owner who is a defective title. So we will be seeing this word of owner or seller. Sometimes both are same person. Sometimes owner is a different person. He authorizes the seller to sell. Okay. So here the seller or the non-owner, if he is going to, doesn't have the authority to sell. The owner has the authority to sell. Seller might not have authority to sell. Owner is the seller is the same person. You can say that yes, he has the authority. If it is a different person who is a non-owner without authority, a non-owner without authority of the owner. Now we are looking at this person as a seller and he doesn't have authority from the owner, then he cannot pass on a better title to the buyer. Ownership, he itself doesn't have ownership of this goods. How will he be able to sell it to the buyer? How will the buyer will take possession of it? Right? So that is being questioned here, and they are saying certain exceptions are there. There are certain exceptions to it where sale by a mercantile agent. What is the purpose of appointing a mercantile agent? To sell on behalf of the owner. So authorized. So when it is unauthorized, you cannot sell. Here we are seeing a non-owner, unauthorized by the owner. He is basically a seller, which we are looking at. The non-owner whom we are referring it is a seller, right? The seller will not be able to sell it without the permission of the owner. But in case of a mercantile agent, he is appointed for the only for the purpose of selling it, so it will be taken. Then, when it comes to transfer by estoppel, pretending somebody pretending this owner is not denying it. Owner is not denying it. We have a person who is an agent or a seller, a broker or a seller. In the presence of the owner, he is saying that yes, this is my land and I will be able to execute a sale. The owner is standing nearby and is not denying the fact that no, he is not the owner, I am the owner. Right? In those cases, so estoppel has been accepted by him, then he will not be able to escape it. So an owner's conduct leads to the buyer to believe seller has the authority. Right? So the buyer has been given the impression that the seller is the owner of those goods and he has the right to make negotiations, sell it. And it is all happening in the before the presence of the owner. He didn't deny the fact, then probably the estoppel will cover. He pretended that he has given the authority to him. Later he cannot deny, the sale will still be valid. Then sale by a joint owner. ABC owns a car. Whether all three people come together and sell this car? Not necessary. If A has been authorized by B and C with the consent of the co-owners, if he said the sale will be valid. So it is not necessary that all the three owners. So all we are speaking about what? The authorization to sell. If it is there, you can sell. The owner authorizes you to sell, you can sell. So the joint owners here, one co-owner is sole possession with the consent of the others. Consent of B and C, A can sell. Right? It is also valid. A sale under a voidable contract. How it works? Sale under a voidable contract. What is a voidable contract? Not enforceable by law? Then what is the difference between void and voidable? Void is not enforceable by law. Voidable is enforceable by one party, not by the other. One party is the aggrieved party, right? So this example we would have seen, let's assume A, B and C are there, right? So A and B having an contract which has some sort of fraud, right? So A sells the goods to B, but in fraud. Now post to that, yes. So there is always a possibility that he may repudiate the contract. So in case if he repudiate the contract, what he should do is to give back the goods to whom? A. Now C, can he be questioned? Why did you buy this goods which is under the voidable contract, right? There is already a suspicion. Why you didn't buy? What he will say? C says he doesn't know about it. He doesn't know when B bought it from A, and whether some problem of fraud existed or not, he is not aware. So what word we are going to look at? What word?
Good faith.
Good faith. He bought it in good faith. So certain other places we are going to see the same category where the person who bought it, the buyer who bought it, has no idea on the existing defect of the seller or the owner. Previous owner or the seller had a defect. The buyer didn't have an idea, didn't have any reason to believe. The language they would be using it, they didn't have any reason to believe they had a title defect, and they bought it in good faith. Then still the sale will be valid. Will not be able to question it. It will be valid. Clear? Then seller is in possession of the sale after. He's already made a sale to you, but he is having the possession. He is already again selling it to second person. Buyer 1 has bought it and paid for it. He has not taken delivery. In the meanwhile, the other person sold it to buyer 2 also. So the buyer 2's position is what now? Whether the buyer 2 is aware of the first sale? No. So in those cases, the buyer 2 position is being saved, saying that he also takes then good faith buyer. He will still have a valid. See, obviously, one goods cannot be sold to both the parties. There will be a possibility of recovering it. Now we are only looking at whether the sale has been valid or not. The sale will be valid in part of the buyer, because the buyer buys in good faith and he doesn't have a knowledge or a reason to believe that the seller is selling a good which is already sold to somebody else. He will not be having an idea. So that seller keeps the possession, resells to a good faith buyer, then also it will be valid. Then buyer in possession after sale. This is very common, right? Buyer in possession after sale. Let's assume I am the buyer getting the goods from you. Now I'll be the owner of it, right? Then I can sell it to anybody. In the meanwhile, I have taken the possession from you, but the ownership is yet to transfer. Subsequently, I will transfer it to somebody. Once it is transferred to me, I will transfer. Possession is with me. So that is also possible, where the buyer obtains possession with the consent, resells to good faith transferee. So at the time of the sale, I will have the possession, but the ownership yet to come from you. But soon after the ownership comes from you to me, I will be able to execute a transfer of ownership to the other party, which is also acceptable. Then sale by an unpaid seller. Unpaid seller. Who is an unpaid seller? Who is not being paid for the goods. He has the possession of those goods. What he can do? He can sell to anybody. Can you say that no, it is already being sold to him? That's right of disposal is there, right? Preservation of right of disposal. It will allow you, since you didn't pay the balance amount, I am at the liberty to sell it to anybody. I have the right to sell it. So the right to unpaid, right, sell by an unpaid seller is also there. Anyways, we are going to see the same thing in the rights of the unpaid seller, right? The resale after existing right of lien or stoppage in transit is being taken up, then he can sell it to somebody else. That is allowable under the law. Then there are few other exceptions which is coming under finder of the lost goods is going to sell it. Is it possible? Finder of the lost goods. Yes, absolutely possible. Because he might not be able to identify the buyer. There is a provision. In intermediate, we will be seeing this provision. When a finder of the lost goods can sell, if the goods are of perishable nature, he cannot wait all along to find the person to give back the perished goods. So he might be able to sell it. Or in identifying the owner of those goods, the value of the goods is itself 3000. To identify that, you have to spend more than 2000, right? There is a formula which they are using. So if the cost of identifying the owner is more than two-thirds of the original cost of the goods, then you might go for a sale to be executed, right? So that is what exception. Similarly, there are other exceptions under Negotiable Instruments Act also, where a person who is transferring a negotiable instrument, which he is not the rightful owner of. I find a check in the road, I write my name and I am transferring it to you by way of an endorsement. You don't have an idea that this check was taken from road. You will still accept it. What you are accepting in good faith, right? You don't have a doubt that I have bought this in. I have bought. It had a defect in the title. You are only buying in this in good faith or taking it as in good faith. Then the transfer which is made, may transfer of, because we are also seeing about the negotiable instrument. Negotiable means transferable. So I am transferring the ownership of the negotiable instrument to you. You don't have a doubt that I had a defect in title. You are receiving it in good faith. Then the transfer is valid. Clear? Clear? So those are transfer of title by non-owners. Good. So we will take a break and come back around 8:05. Is it fine? Good. Yes. To continue with the sale of goods act, the other topic is, next topic is on the essentials of a sale as well as the performance. We have already seen what in addition to the essentials of a valid contract plus sale of goods is being involved, right? We are just going to see that. Plus, you are going to also see what is the performance under the sale of goods. Because under the Contracts Act, we say performance is to perform what you have agreed to do. Here it is going to break it up in such a manner that what you have agreed under the sale of goods act is to transfer the ownership, pay the money, all these things, right? So that is being given here, and certain conditions with respect to delivery, how it is being made. Now, starting from the essentials, it speaks about there shall be two parties, which we already know. Two parties who shall be the seller and the buyer. Then there shall be a subject matter shall be goods of me and a movable property. The definition which we already know, and it should involve what? Transfer of property, which is ownership or title. Then there shall be a delivery which will be happening. Subsequently, here we are speaking about the possession. Delivery is nothing but the possession, either immediately or before or as per the agreement what they are going to do. And for that, what they are going to pay price in terms of price, not by any other goods. Then the sale might be either an absolute or conditional thing on fulfillment of something, we will be able to sell it. So accordingly, you are going to see. So these 6 elements plus other valid essential of a contract, which is under section 10. That 6 element is there, right? So this 6 element is going to be always there. Any contract, this 6 elements is going to be always there. But in case of a contract involving sale of goods, it is going to have all these also to be fulfilled. Where it should be between a buyer and seller, it should have movable goods as the subject matter of exchange, right? It should involve the transfer of ownership and delivery, and it should be supported by a price. This transaction could be either absolute or conditional, right? All those things put together says about the essentials of a sale contract. Essentials of a sale contract. When it comes to the performance is going to be very simple. Even their performance was simple. Party agreed to do something, they have to do that. That is all performance it speaks about. Is that right? Now, looking at this part, what you are going to do? What you have agreed here under the sale of goods? Right? The contract of sale of goods, what you have agreed? Transfer of ownership of goods. What the other person agrees? Price. Right? We'll just add one more part to it. Just not paying the price, accepting the goods and paying the price. He has to accept the goods and pay the price, right? So here the duties are going to be the seller delivers and the buyer pays. Buyer pays after accepting the goods. These are generally concurrent conditions, meaning what? Happening at the same time. Concurrent communication means we are talking at the same time, right? Concurrent conditions where, so here you can even add the buyer accepts the goods, then it goes for buying it for. Then when it comes to general, the price and delivery are concurrent conditions, but if at all you agree in otherwise, how you can agree otherwise? How you can agree otherwise? Not concurrent, meaning what? Deliver the goods now, I'll pay later. Or I'll pay now, you deliver the goods later. So that is between the parties to decide. They can still do. Right? Then other delivery and other details rules which we are speaking about, these are individually seen. How what is the possession transfer means what? The ownership transfer means what? What is the mode which you have agreed in the contract? Let's assume in case of a physical goods, I might be saying that I'll be hand delivering it to you. Is that right? If you want my mobile to be bought, I'll be delivering my mobile in your hands. Actual delivery shall happen. What in case if you are going to buy a software? Now all softwares will be available. You can just download and run it. In order to use a version, means a registered version, what you would be requiring? A serial key or something will be requiring. You are going to only purchase serial key. So the serial key would be the product, right? So the goods, whatever we are agreeing, is going to be in nature, how you are going to put it into possession. Sometimes you have to deliver it. Sometimes you have to do what you have agreed to do. What you have agreed to do. So the modes is where doing an agreed act or putting into the possession. In case of physical goods, we call it as putting into possession, or other cases, doing what you have agreed to do. Clear? Then, when it comes to part delivery and installment deliveries, part delivery means what? Half or a part of the goods. Overall 200 quantities you have ordered, but I am able to do only 50 quantities. Then it is called part delivery. Right? I am unable to do another other 150, so 50 only is being done. So it can be severed. Can be severed and say that okay, for 50 alone I will pay you, 150 I don't want. Okay, I might do that, or I may reject the entire offer, saying that no, if you give, see, this is for a return gift for a marriage. I cannot give 50 people and cannot say another 150 people is not having, or I cannot even go for another type of goods to give different return gifts to different people, so I don't want. So the effect depends on the intention, either to severable or whole. Whether you want to make a part delivery as a part of the 200 or only 50 you can make. So that depends. The seller might come up with a proposal, buyer if he accepts it, then he may go forward. Otherwise, he may choose either to take it as a whole or have a severe. If it is accepting, let's assume he is accepting that 50 is good, there is no necessity to construe that the balance 150 will be delivered subsequently. We are having a date of November 14th is the date in which he has to deliver 200 goods. November 14th he came up with only 50 goods. It is up to you. You can reject it or accept this and say, or the remainder is going to be given in another 1 week. It is up to you to choose, the buyer to choose, right? Then installment deliveries. Part delivery is different. Installment delivery is what? You even agreed that way. 200 goods only, sir, but I cannot deliver it in 1 week. 4 weeks I will deliver in installments. Clear? So in case if you have agreed that way, that is possible. As long as you both have agreed, it can possible. Otherwise, all transactions shall be done in wholesome in nature. You have to have an agreement. Your agreement should say the buyer shall be receiving the goods on installments, 4 different installments. If they are agreeing, okay. Now coming to the other part of delivering in the wrong quantities. How do you handle that? Delivering in the wrong quantities. Very good. Upon the buyer, he is going to take up a decision whether to accept the goods or not. What sort of acceptance we are looking at? Because we have ordered 100 goods and we have received only 70 goods. But you are in need of those. Whether you will reject everything, you may accept 70 and pay for it, or you may reject it. If you are receiving 150, you may accept 150 and pay for it, or reject it wholly, or you will only accept the contracted quantity of 100 and reject the excess 50. So these are options available to you. So when the question comes is, when it is lower, when you have the lesser quantities being received, what you will do? Either reject the entire quantity or accept the whatever you have received, the 70 or quantities, and pay for 70 alone. You will not be ready to pay for 100 because you have received only 70. That is one. Or when it comes to more quantity, you accept the contract quantity or reject the balance, or you will reject all, because sometimes it will not be separable. It will coming in packets. So they say that all these things you have to buy, sir, it only comes in wholesale. You have to buy means you will not be ready. Why have to buy it? So let's assume 30 is the number of goods. Okay, one packet contains 30. I need 100. Definitely there will be a fourth packet will be leading into 120. Then I don't have an option. I have to reject the whole. Right? So in case if it is possible to be taken as 100, I will take only 100 and reject the 20 or 50, whichever is excess, and pay for only 100. That is also possible. When it comes to lesser or more quantity, it is okay. What if it comes to the mixed goods? Mixed goods.
If you have desired the wrong quantity given them.
Right? Mixed goods where we are looking at different goods has been mixed. You have asked a specific goods. It is mixed with some other type of goods. It should also be looked at in the same way we look at Bailey mixes the goods. What happens? Separable, inseparable. We will take the same concept here. In case if the goods are separable, what you can do? Accept what your quality is. The mixed goods are there, out of which whatever the quality you want, you can accept it and reject the balance. Or in case if it is inseparable, reject the entire thing. That's all. Right? So that way you can even do it. What about delivery, which we are looking at here, right? Delivery to the carrier is amounts to delivery, which we have already seen. What if in case of he is insisting on a distant place to be delivered? The buyer insisting on distant place to be delivered. Who shall take the loss? Who shall take the loss? Buyer should take the loss, unless otherwise agreed. So seller is only supposed to deliver it from the place where it is being sold, or if they have agreed to do it at a place, they will be agreeing. But he is insisting on delivering to a different place, distant place. The language they have used it, distant place. Then buyer has to bear the loss, risk of loss. And if at all he wants to pass it on to the seller by way of an agreement, they can separate. They will always say, even though it is a distant place, the buyer and seller agrees that the seller will take the responsibility to deliver at a distant place until such time the risk will always lie with the seller. If they agree so, then it is seller. Otherwise, always it is going to be a buyer who demands for a distant place. Right? The end of it, how? When you are going to deliver, he shall be given an opportunity for examination of goods. He shall accept, as I told you right here, accepts and pays. He shall give accepting the goods. He will open. Now we are seeing open box delivery and all. Right? You see, oh, this is what I ordered. Fine, good. Or otherwise, I will say that no, this is not what I ordered. Please take it back. So this acceptance is, even in the law, it has been said that the buyer has the right to examine the goods before the acceptance to see whether it is in conformity what he ordered. Right? Only after acceptance there is a liability for him to pay. If it is not corresponding to the quality, what will he pay? You are asking a goods to be delivered to your factory. It comes to you. It is a different size, but it's not what you require. What happens now? What happens? You return it, right? You will not pay for it. You will not accept the goods first of all. So in those cases, it has to be understood that only after acceptance the liability to pay rises. After that only I will pay. If I am not getting the goods, I will not pay. Right? That has to be remembered. Then when it comes to the acceptance has been made, then the person accepts and concludes the contract. Any payment obligation will be followed. He makes the payment. Contract has been performed. He has delivered the goods. You have accepted the goods, and you have the liability to pay. You pay. You have completed the obligations of the performance of a sale contract. Clear? Clear? Good.
So can you please explain part delivery and installment delivery?
Part delivery and installment delivery is where we don't agree that we wanted to deliver only part of it. Let's assume you are ordering 200 goods, but the seller is able to make only 50 in the given date. He is coming up with the 50 and saying that please accept it. Then you say it is a part delivery. You didn't agree for that. You wanted 200 goods, but he is able to make only 50, right? So it is depending upon you whether you can sever from the contract. You can say, okay, 50 only you are able to do, I'll take that 50. The balance you need not provide it. It will not create any obligation for you. Since I have accepted the 50, he might come back with the 150 goods after 2 weeks and say, sir, you on that day accepted 50. No, you have to accept 150 also. There is no necessity. It can be severed. Severed means what? It can be separated, cut. Can be separated. I can just accept this 50 and leave the remainder out. It's whose decision? The buyer's decision. That's what I took an example. Let's assume I'm going to offer a return gift for a function. I ordered 200 return gifts. That person is going to make only 50. I cannot give 50 in this nature and I cannot buy another 150 and give it. I don't want to do that. I want it to be unique. Right? Or I cannot even choose to give only 50 people and leave the other 150 out. Then the option is only to me is to reject the entire 50 quantity. Part delivery need not be accepted if the buyer has no intention to take it. Clear? That is part delivery. When it comes to installment delivery, you even agreed that way. The agreement was always it is to be agreed. Nowhere it is implied that we will be making installment deliveries. In the agreement, you should agree that the seller will be making installment deliveries. Weekly, the same 200 goods or something. Example, we are just the same example which we used for part delivery. We are just amending towards this area, saying that in case if the seller says that sorry sir, 200 is not possible in a week, we will be able to deliver 50 in a week. Okay, by 4 weeks we will be able to conclude with 200. If you are accepting installment deliveries, we will go ahead with the contract. If you say so, then it can be taken. So unless agreed, if you agree with the installment deliveries, it will be following. The buyer has no responsibility to, if not an agreement. Agreemently, you said that 200 has to be given in full stretch. But he is saying that no, 1 week only 50 I will be able to give. You are not bound to take it. Same applicable to part delivery also, right? So here at least they allow, if you have agreed in the agreement, installment delivery shall be accepted. Right? Clear? Is it clear, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Then, when it comes to the next part of conditions and warranties, what do you mean by a condition? What do you mean by a warranty? There are implied conditions and implied warranties which we are looking at. What do you mean by a condition? Essential to the contract. Warranty is collateral to the contract. We are speaking about the main purpose of the goods which we are buying for the under this sale contract. We are buying a good, but it cannot be used for the purpose. what you will do? You will repudiate the contract, right? But you have some small defect, then you will not repudiate the contract, you will just claim damages. So the conditions are essentials to stipulation, right? Stipulation essential to the main purpose of the contract. We generally see an example, right? A mobile phone which I am buying, it doesn't have a calling option. Doesn't have a calling option. You ask it. So this is a specific phone which doesn't have a calling option. When how you can call it as a phone? It is a gadget. Then you cannot call it as a phone at all. So you didn't tell me this. So the condition, the main purpose of this phone itself is being defeated. I don't want this goods. Please take it return. I will cancel the contract. Repudiation of the contract of sale can happen in case of the condition is not being fulfilled. Is that clear? So here you can see the breach given rise to the right to treat the contract as repudiated, to cancel. Repudiation means what? Cancel. So you can cancel the contract. Then when it comes to warranty, it is collateral. It is collateral means additional. Then it doesn't give the right to repudiate the contract, but it can only claim damages. Damages means what? Compensation. They can claim damages, right? So how do you differentiate between a condition and warranty in sale? How do you differentiate? How do you know what is a condition, what is a warranty? How do you identify? Any product which you receive, a booklet will be there. There will be terms and conditions, right? So how do you identify which is a condition and which is a warranty? They will put headings. So it is nowhere it is going to say these are conditions, these are warranties. It is between you and me to decide. The construction of the contract will say, construction means what? Drafting of the contract. The drafting of the contract will say which has to be included as a condition, which is included as a warranty. Clear? Clear? Now, one question which I have not included here, but I know that already. So, what if a condition has been treated as a warranty? Condition is essential, but they have treated it as a warranty. Okay, not a problem. I accept that also. I'll still continue with the contract. Whether I will be able to repudiate the contract later. Whether I will be, I'm accepting the failure in condition and treating it as a warranty, then I cannot repudiate the contract later. What I can do is claim damages. No, that is the rule, right? So conditions and warranties are basics that. Then, as we say, it's to be in the construction of the contract, where it has to be entered into the contract in such a way. There will be one clause called conditions, other clause called warranty. What points we are going to put into condition, what point we are going to put into warranty, it is up to you. Clear? Then when it comes to implied, that is express, which is written or it's word spoken, there are certain implied warranties. Implied means what? Act or conduct. You need not tell, you need not specifically say. So this implied conditions and warranty are going to see. The implied is where there is always an implied condition that the person who is selling the goods has a title, ownership. He has the right to transfer the ownership. So he has the right to sell. They are not mentioning the owner, but he has the right to sell. He might be even a mercantile agent, but he has the right to sell from the owner to sell it to somebody. It's an implied. If I am going to sell one of the computers here, what you will be believing? I have the right to sell. So that's what it's an implied condition, right? Clear? Then 2, description. Where in case I'm going to sell by description. Description. The goods which I'm selling is going to match that description. I'm selling it as detergent soap. It should be detergent. I'm selling it as a bathing soap. It will be a bathing soap. I cannot differently sell it, right? It is for, we have this all this, no? For some materials are for consumption, some for cleaning purposes. We find that. So I have to clearly mention this is for external use only, meaning what? It's only for cleaning purposes only. If I say so, it is very clear that if you drink it, what is your problem? It's your problem because I am very well clear that by way of description I have clearly told you this is for cleaning purposes. Right? Clear? So that differentiation should be taken. It is description which is going. I need not prove myself. It's very clearly said that in the description. Then it has to correspond with the description. Similarly, in case of a sale by sample, what is the condition?
Must correspond with sample.
Right? So if I am taking a sample and testing it, I want the same to be given in bulk quantities. Then all the bulk quantities, it is assumed to be, it is a condition to be, it is corresponding to the sample. Right? I cannot expect that it will be different. It is an implied condition that when a sale happens by a sample, all the goods shall be bulk quantity shall be corresponding with the sample quality which is being provided and cannot be rendered unmerchantable. Merchantable means to be viable. Merchantable is to be marketable into the market. Right? So that is also covered. Quality or fitness. The buyer, whatever we have seen, the buyer has to satisfy himself whether it would suit the purpose of it. Quality or fitness of the product would suffice to the purposes of what he is buying it. The purpose of what it is buying it is being satisfied here. That is a condition. Implied condition. Then we have implied warranties. So which we could connect it to the certain areas where here title is going to give you to these things. Right? When you buy it from the right person, you have the warranty as to quiet possession. Nobody will come and trouble you. So buyer shall have the enjoyment of a quiet possession of goods. Right? In case of any breach, obviously they will be available for damages. But when it comes to the encumbrances matters, yes, similarly, if you are buying for a rightful owner who has not pledged goods, let's assume I am a owner, I have pledged the goods to somebody, I am also transferring the goods to you. Tomorrow what happens? That pledgee will come and ask you, these are my goods, he has already pledged it. Possession was with him. Or he, without my consent, he has taken the possession and given it to you. So it is my goods. Right? So there is a problem because there is a defect existed in my title. I didn't have a clear title. I have an encumbered title. So in case if you are buying it from the seller, you presume that I have the right to sell, transfer it, and in that case you will also have freedom from encumbrances. Goods are free from encumbrances or right of third party not declared. This free from encumbrances, nobody comes. So both the quiet possession and freedom encumbrances means the same, where you will be able to have a quiet possession and nobody will come against encumber the property. Right? Then when it comes to trade related to use fitness or equality, it's same as this part. Same as this part where it is an implied warranty that how the buyer gets satisfied. Similarly, based on the trade usage, it should be quality and fit for the purpose which the buyer buys it for. It is an implied warranty that if the buyer comes and asks for it and we are selling it, it should fit the property. Right? It should fit the purpose for which the goods is being bought. Then, when it comes to the last one, disclose dangerous nature. It is an implied warranty that in case if there is a dangerous nature attached to this product, what should I do? Inform you. I should inform you. At the time of delivery, I should inform you. This is brake. Let's assume I am selling a two-wheeler to you. I should say the brake is kind of loose. Right? You have to repair it. I have to say, if I fail to do that, whatever the loss which is occurred to you, right? Any property losses which is occurred to you, then you can always claim to me because there is an implied warranty that if at all there is a dangerous nature attached to the product, the seller is supposed to disclose it to the other person. Bailment also will have a similar topic where when I am giving the goods on bail, I should, if there is any dangerous nature involved, I should probably be informing to the other party. Clear? So the seller must warn the buyer, otherwise he will be liable for damages. Right? Good. Then the last part under the sale of goods act is rights of an unpaid seller. Who is an unpaid seller? First of all,
Who does not pay?
who does not get paid? What if he get paid 50%?
Still is not an unpaid seller.
He is not an unpaid seller.
He receives full.
Silly is not an unpaid seller, or silly is an unpaid seller?
He is an
Unpaid seller, right? So whatever you said as an answer, who is not getting paid fully is what you have to add. Who is not getting paid fully? People have this confusion now. The language would say, who has not fully received the price they have. So we intend that, okay, he has received, fully received, didn't receive only, he will be called as unpaid seller. 50% or 60% he has received, he cannot be called as unpaid seller. The language should be read in the other way, right? 100 rupees is agreed under the contract. He has not been paid 100 rupees fully. There is a small amount which is still pending. We call him as an unpaid seller. Right? So who is an unpaid seller? The whole price not paid or tender. The whole of the price which is agreed is not being paid to him. Then you call as an unpaid seller. So not only by way of cash, he has given negotiable check, negotiable instrument such as check or a bill of exchange, which we received it, we deposited, it got dishonored. Then also I am an unpaid seller. Okay? Then, right? So what are the rights they have as an unpaid seller? It is going to speak about seller includes agent or consignor. Agent of the seller is also included. A seller authorizes the agent to sell. The agent sells it, and the agent is not getting paid. Now the agent is also an unpaid seller. He can even raise a suit. He can take all this effects, right? So
Agent
he,
is not the owner.
sorry,
Agent is not the owner.
not the owner.
How is an unpaid seller?
That's what they are insisting, because if at all you have to raise a suit for payment, the owner might not be the one to directly come, because there is no privity of the contract between the people. Who are you? I am the owner, but I didn't buy it from you. I bought it from that store. If at all somebody has to come against me, who will come? The store owner, who is an agent of the, right? Even the consignment also same nature only. I am the person who is receiving it. So accordingly, I will be the one to make a sale to you. I will be the one to, right? So an agent who is authorized by them by for the purpose of selling, what they are insisting, you need not wait for the original owner to raise a suit against the buyer. Even this person will be considered as an unpaid seller. He can even institute a suit against you for recovery of the amount or recovery of the goods, right? So basically they are dividing this rights of the unpaid seller to two. One is on goods, one is on the buyer, right? The one is on the goods is going to be in lien. Lien means right of retention. When the sale has happened, but the possession is still with you. Possession is still with you. Possession means what? Physical possession is still with you. You can say that I will not give unless you completely deposit the amount, pay the amount, right? He will keep the possession until payment. Where no credit, expired credit, or buyer has become insolvent, you have this possessory lien. You have the right to possession until he pays the entire amount. The same way you can see this. Here also they are going to withhold delivery, where here is one small change, sir. Both are same only, right? There also is having a possession. He is also going to withhold delivery. He is not going to give. So here you can see the property not passed. Property means what? Ownership is not passed, right? Similar to lien and stoppage can be exercised. Ownership, even here it is passed, you can still hold. Possessory lien can be held because you have not paid the part of it. Only then I will give a delivery. Here, even when the ownership is not also passed, you can very safely have ownership not passed. Possession is also with me. I will not deliver to you unless you pay. Right? Withholding delivery is there. Then stoppage in transit. You have already shipped it. It is on the way. The person told that, sir, you ship it, sir. In half an hour, I will make the payment. Half an hour went on to 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. We didn't receive a payment. It is halfway. Then we are getting a doubt. and you calling up some of our associate and answer, see that guy he made the payment. No, he lies like that. He always says that he will make a payment, but he will not make if you don't give any credit to him. One of your friends says that, what you will do? Okay, cut the call, I will call to the driver, stop where you are, come back to the premises. So this is called stoppage in transit. Transit is already there, right? It has not been taken by the buyer. It has not reached the buyer's place. What if it reaches the buyer's place? He will take delivery of it, right? So it is not being taken. So the goods in transit can be stopped and resumed possession, right? In case if you know that the buyer becomes insolvent, he is not paying. Now the same nature, right? Your other peer says that he is not paying us, you should also don't go and fall into this. You don't deliver the goods to him. Then he has become insolvent of payment. So I'll stoppage in transit. After exercising this right of lien or stoppage in transit, the goods are going to be with whom? Seller. It will be with me. In order to rectify the transaction, in order to gain, please not to make losses, right? In order to make use of these goods. Anyway, he is not going to pay, and I'm already having the goods. I cannot put it to waste. I can try to resell it. Right to reservation of resale, disposal is already available with me under the contract. What I have to do? Do one thing. I have to tell him, hey, last day, this is the last day within which you have to come. If not, I will sell it to anybody. That will be giving a notice, right? Notice to be given. There will be a notice to be given. Perishable goods are explicitly reserved. Perishable goods, notice might not be necessarily be given, because today evening I am going to, what he is going to do? So perishable goods may be having an exception based on the time of perishing, right? Expressly reserved, and notice shall be given, and no payment. Even after the notice is given, no payment has been made. So you have the right to resell. The unpaid seller has the right to resale, which is valid. Sir, he paid 10%, sir. What about that amount? Irrespective of whether he paid 10% or not, whether irrespective of he is paid 10% or not, or 20% or not, 30% or not, we are not worrying. He is not being paid fully, we call him as an unpaid seller, then probably it is possible for him to sell it to resale and take a profit. Now coming to when he sells the goods which is being repossessed, right? He has a portion of those goods, right? Recovered goods from the stoppage in transit or the lien goods which is in possessory lien. He sells that. The value of the goods is 1 lakh, but it goes only to 80,000. What he can do? There is a loss of 20,000. What he can do? Yesterday we saw the same provisions in pledge, right? The pledgee doesn't receive the amount. Pledgee has a right to sell it in case of a deficiency. You can go and even claim the balance from the original owner. Similarly here, seller is not able to get the price of 1 lakh. He is getting only 80,000. What he can do? Recover the losses from the buyer, right? Who promised him to get it, right? Here the seller and buyer only, right? So the seller is meeting a loss on resale. On resale, he is meeting a loss. There, we'll just cover this for pledgor and pledgee once, so that we'll be able to easily clear it here. The pledgee is the person who is having the goods. The pledgor is supposed to make the payment and recover the goods. He didn't make the payment. The pledgee gets the right to sell and recover the amounts which he has paid. So when he sells, it is going under the value of which he has lent a loan. He has lent a loan of 1 lakh rupees, but the goods which has been pledged could be sold only at 80,000. There is a loss of 20,000, which he can recover from the pledgor. Can he do that? Yes. In case if he is getting excess, what he should do? Return? Probably he has to give it to the, share it to the return. Whatever the excess, he has to, the surplus to be given, transfer to the pledgor, because who is the owner of the goods? Pledgor is the owner of the goods. It is very clear. Now come back to this provision. Right of resale is being taken. So same provision as far as deficiency, we don't have a problem. Here also he is going to sell the goods only for 80,000. There is a loss the seller is sustaining of 20,000. Whether he can go against the buyer for deficiency? Yes, absolutely he can go. Otherwise he could have sold it to somebody at 1 lakh. Since he delayed and the goods have lost its value and 80,000 only we are able to sell. So the 20,000 loss is arising to the seller. He will be able to recover the same. But in case if it is going higher than that, it is going 1,25,000, what he has to do? Keep the profit, because whose goods it is? Seller's goods. So there you can see there is the pledgor is the owner, so you are transferring the surplus to him. Here he is the owner, so he can keep the surplus with him. That is the one different change which we are seeing here. Right? Clear? Good. When it comes to the right against buyer, all is going to be in form of suits. Go to the court, file a suit. So what suits you are going to do? Suit for price. Seller has, property has been passed. So all this can be exercised only when the goods are with you. Goods have already gone to the buyer's hands. Whether he will return the goods and take it. If I don't pay, you have the right to get it. He is not a very good person. He says, go to the court. If you want to recover, go to the court. Right? So you go to the court, you say that the property has been already passed. The buyer wrongfully neglects or refuses to pay. You will be filing a suit for price which you have stopped, which you have supplied the goods for. Then, not only price, what you can go for? Right? Interest along with price. He is paying with the delay. 18% interest until he pays. Price plus interest you can do. It can be either in form of agreement. Earlier agreement itself you have said that if you are not paying within the certain date, I will be going for a interest to be charged addition to it. Okay, so this generally comes with the same suit itself. They will file a civil suit which will have both contents. It will say price plus interest until the date of the repayment. So you can go for price, go for interest. Right? Anyways, you are going to meet some loss here. That's also. Then when it comes to damages, is for non-acceptance. You are offering the goods to be delivered. He is not accepting. Then what you can do for? You can even ask for buyer wrongfully neglects. You are asking the court, ask him to accept and pay damages. He is not accepting the goods, because of which I am going to meet losses. So he has to pay damages. Right? Here, then when it comes to cancellation, right to cancellation or repudiation, suit for cancelling. The buyer repudiate the contract before delivery, sue for breach. So buyer is, tomorrow is the delivery date. Before that he calls and says that I don't want the goods. Why you are telling it now? I have already made it. You should have informed me 25 days before, at least then. The agreement says that in case of cancellation of the contract, at least we have entered into the contract before 1 year. If in case the cancellation has to happen, 1 month notice has to be given. You didn't follow that. So the suit for repudiation will be taken where the buyer repudiates before the delivery date. You can sue for breach. And why you cancelled it? Suit for repudiation. He has cancelled. No. I might be again having damages because of this. I'll be able to recover the same. Clear? Here the suit is for 4 purposes: suit for price, suit for interest, suit for damages, and suit for repudiation of the contract. So how we see rights of an unpaid seller, there is also rights of the buyer, not here, the intermediate level, it will be coming there, we will see. Clear? With that we will be completing Sale of Goods Act. Good? Clear? The next one would be on Negotiable Instrument Act. We will take a breakfast break. The time is now 8:50. So when you want to come back, 9:15 is fine. Good. 9:15 we will be coming back. And we know negotiable instrument is again a very small act. We will complete as soon as possible and we will wind up for the day. Tomorrow we'll have business communication for 20 marks and MCQs will be discussed. Clear? Good. We'll go for a break and we'll resume by 9:15. So the second act which we are going to see today is day 2 of revision is Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 is the year. What it speaks about, what are negotiable instruments, what are the characteristics of this negotiable instrument. There are 3 negotiable instruments the Act has specified: promissory note, bill of exchange and check. What is the difference between this and what is the nature of differences, distinctions while you choose who are the parties under this, right? Then you have a concept relating to who are the parties other than these instruments are we have told, and major parties who are executing. So those relationship between the parties, who is an acceptor, who is a payee, who is a holder in due course. When there is a concept in check called crossing, right? What is that crossing? And finally the dishonour of check, what is the process that has been handled. Clear? So that is the small snapshot of what Negotiable Instrument Act has given us, right? We'll see one by one. One, it starts with the negotiable instrument. What is the purpose of this negotiable? You want to pay an amount of 1 crore to somebody. Which is easier, to a check or a cash? You count all those cash. All the way from your home to the person who are taking a payment, you always have a risk. Anybody could. Today morning also I saw a news where 1.5 lakhs or something they had withdrawn and kept it in this back of the scooter, right? Scooter, there is a space, right? A person who has followed, they are equitably coming and saying that now in a broad daylight they are able to open the lock, take the amount and is just taking another breath, which is all prone to risk. The cash handling is prone to risk, the 2 huge amounts. So those are the reasons why negotiable instruments were invented, so that the high value transactions could be done in a more safer manner, right? And also be authenticated, because you will say who is the person who is to be paid, right? You give the banker an instruction. So the objective is to simplify monetary transaction and prevent theft during transfer of large amounts. What is the essential features of, it goes to this first, what are the essential features of this? This should be seen mandatorily, because agreement can be in oral or in writing. Negotiable instrument cannot be oral. Sir, I have an evidence also, witness also there. Can it be oral? No. It can be only in writing, because you have to undertake something, right? You have to confirm something. So it shall be only in writing. Tomorrow you would say, I didn't say that word at all. So it must be mandatorily in writing. It shall be signed by the maker or drawer, and it shall be either a promise to make or an order to pay. Promise to pay means I myself promise to make a payment. Order to means I instruct somebody, please order, please pay. I'm ordering you to pay them, right? Then it must be a conditional promise or order to pay. You have to understand that it must be unconditional to pay. Acceptance can be conditional. Acceptance can be conditional. The acceptance can be where I am going to sell goods to you and I am also sending a bill of exchange. If the goods are only up to the quality which you are required, you will be accepting the bill of exchange, which will allow a payment, right? The acceptance of a bill of exchange can be conditional, but the payment cannot be conditional. So all negotiable instrument will allow you to go for an unconditional order to pay or a promise to pay. Clear? Clear? Then it must be in money only, money or monetary terms. How you are going to pay this? Whatever the instrument may be, it is going to offer you in terms of money, not by any other thing, not by kind, not by property, anything. It is only going to offer you money, and the amount should be certain sum, calculated one, or at least how to calculate it. You can say that 1 lakh plus 18% interest. Then it is calculated. I cannot say I will pay you such amounts. What is such amounts? You cannot say so. Let's assume I would be paying you 20% of the profits, it's okay. I will be paying such amount of the profits. What is such amount? You will not be able to identify. So the certainty of the amount should be mentioned in the note, promissory note or a bill of exchange or check. Then it shall be transferable. The term negotiable means what? Term negotiable means transferable. The instruments can be transferred by two options. One is mere delivery. Means what? What is mere delivery? Just delivering it to you. Where in case of a bearer documents, we have seen no bearer documents. Anybody who bears the document with him, it will be calling us, he will be the owner of it. It will be called as a bearer document. I transfer it to you, you become the bearer. You transfer it to him, he become the bearer. Right? Bearer documents can be transferred by mere delivery. Right? When it comes to order documents, it has to be endorsed because it is already saying your name. You have to endorse it to her name. Only then it will be possible for her to take ownership of those documents. So either it can be delivery or endorsement and delivery in case of an order document. And whether somebody is going to check whether there is a consideration which is already fallen in place, bank is going to check, oh, Mr. A has given a check to Mr. B. B has deposited. Now I have to pay B. But first I have to confirm with A whether he has issued a check or he received anything from B for issuing check. Anybody checks? Anybody is going to check? Any bank is going to check like that? Call Mr. A. Sir, I understand that you have given a check to B. Did you receive anything really from B or why you are giving this check? Nobody checks because it is an order to pay. Just perform it. There is no necessity for you to go and check whether the consideration has been there or not. That's why they say it is presumed. It is presumed consideration. Clear? Clear? So these are essential features of any of the negotiable instrument. So section 13 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 is going to say about three instruments as negotiable instrument. One is bill of exchange, one is promissory note, two is bill of exchange, three is check. You can always remember this order because it is going to have section numbers 4, 5 and 6. Easier to remember, right? So all these things are going to be the promissory note, bill of exchange and check payable either to the order or to the bearer. We call it as negotiable instruments. Clear? Clear? We'll move on to the negotiable instrument in detail. So for every individual instrument, which is a promissory note, bill of exchange, check, it has its own definition. So it starts from where, how many parties are involved, right? And also what is the type of instrument here. Here it says about unconditional undertaking. Who undertakes here? I signing the promissory note will undertake to pay you. Right? That's the difference because you have to see here undertaking, order. Both are unconditional only. But here you are specifically saying it's undertaking to pay. You can see this to pay. Undertaking to pay. And I undertake to pay you. But in case of a bill of exchange, I order to pay. I will order somebody. Order directing to pay. You will direct somebody to pay. Your banker to pay. And financial institution to pay. Your boss to pay. Your parent company to pay. You order them. I have received the goods. Please make the payment to them. I am accepting the bill of exchange. You have to make the payment. Ordering the other person. So this way you will be able to see. So we will go to this first completed. Then we will come to the check mode. Okay. So unconditional undertaking to pay. So the maker who makes the promissory note will be the one to make the payment to the payee. Right. There will be two parties, maker and the payee. You can always refer to them drawer and the payee. The payee is going to be same in all three cases. Who receives the benefit out of it is payee. But here they are referring to different names. When the maker, you call it as drawer, maker, payer, everything you refer to them, all are one and the same. In case of a promissory note, because one is going to promise, he is going to pay. The same person is going to pay. So, except for, what are the exceptions which is gained? The currency notes under RBI and banking regulations are not promissory notes. It is not considered as promissory notes. Then, They are giving a couple of examples where it should be unconditional. We are referring it, right? Unconditional. I acknowledge indebtedness towards B of 1 lakh on demand. That I am not putting any conditions. He demands, I have to pay, which is unconditional undertaking. On the other way, I am saying I promise to pay B by 20,000 rupees 20,000 7 days after the marriage, which is conditional, which cannot be considered as a promissory note because conditional undertakings cannot be taken. Then when it comes to bill of exchange, there are three parties: drawer, drawee, and payee. The drawee is the person who writes the bill. It is sent to the drawee. Drawee has to accept it. Drawee, when he accepts the bill, becomes the acceptor. So he is taking the liability. Yes, we will pay on to. We will honor your payment. Right? Accordingly, the payee is going to receive the payment. Right? So essential conditions where the must contain an order to accept or pay will be saying. So all these conditions shall be fulfilled for the purposes of the drawer should write, the drawer should be given an opportunity to confirm, accept it. Only then the liability arises. If the goods are of the poor quality, whether you will accept this, you will not accept the bill of exchange. So it will be returned. No payment will be charged. Right? It must contain an order to accept or pay. It is being given under this case law, which essentially must contain. The bill of exchange should mention that we are ordering somebody else to pay. Only then you call it as a bill of exchange. Right? So a demand draft given by the bank, all these things will be considered because the bank is giving you a draft. You tell to the bank saying that pay to Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Then the bank is being directed to make a payment for your fees to the institute. So that way we call it as unconditional order to pay a certain sum. Now when it coming into the check, it is much easier where check is being referred to. Check is a bill of exchange. Bill of exchange necessarily says that it is an unconditional order to direct somebody to pay. That person is going to be the drawee. Here we are referring to drawee, right? The drawee shall always be whom? The bank in case of a check. You will always issue a check. Who is going to honor it? The respective bank, right? So the bill of exchange drawn on a specified banker and payable on demand. Okay, the word which demand which we have to refer here is much important because here demand instrument, check is always a demand instrument. There is no time instruments. But when it comes to promissory note or a bill of exchange, it can either be demand or time. So if no time is being specified, then it is considered as demand instrument. Clear? But check is always a demand instrument, right? So it includes electronic and truncated check, which we have already seen. What is an electronic check? Where electronically generated, the online will generate. Truncated check is nothing but the physical copy of the check scanned into an electronic image. That you call it as truncated check. For the purpose of clearing and all, from Kerala, somebody might have issued a check to me. I would have deposited it here. It has to go to Kerala. The physical check would be following after a week or so. But before that, they will send a scanned copy of the image for them to confirm and release the payment. So that we call it as, for the purpose of clearing, they share the scanned copy. That is called truncated check. Okay, clear? Electronic check is electronically generated. Truncated check is the scanned copy of the physical check, electronically transmitted for the purposes of clearing. Clear? Clear? Yes, good. Just a small comparative which we may know. So here, what are the section? 4, 5, 6. That's why I wanted you to remember this order. Parties, maker and payee, right? So here drawer, drawee or the acceptor. When he accepts, he becomes acceptor. Payee. When it comes to drawer, drawee will always be the banker and the payee is always there. What is the nature of payment? It is unconditional undertaking. It is unconditional order. It is, since check is going to define that check is a bill of exchange, it is also going to be an unconditional order. One main important is only payable on demand, not by other ways. Then acceptance is required. Acceptance, the concept of acceptance is only there in bill of exchange. Drawee becomes the acceptor on acceptance. So required by the drawee to be valid. When it comes to grace days, whether promissory note, in case if the promissory note has some timeline, maybe there will be grace days, payment of so and so. Similarly, bill of exchange, in sums and all, you will be seeing bill of exchange only, right? So in there, we will have a grace days, where here also it is time based. Time is being given for the purpose of promissory note. After 1 week, I will pay. After 1 month, I will pay. It's a time instrument. Then also for time instruments, grace day would be there. For demand instruments, will not be there. So all together, if you look at these two things, will have grace days, right? So here they will have grace days. Here will have grace days. When it is a time instrument. If it is no time is being specified, then it will be considered as demand instrument. Then 3 days grace day will not be applicable for demand instrument, for any instrument method. Here there is no concept at all. Only it is a demand instrument. So grace days is applicable only for time instruments. Demand instruments, no grace days applicable. Crossing concept is only available in check. There is no concept of crossing in the other two instruments. Dishonor, what sort of liability will be raised? So here civil, here also civil, but here in case of a check dishonor, it is criminal. 138, we are going to see the last slide on 138, which enables and criminal liability to be imposed on the parties who have signed the check and insufficiency of funds has occurred. Clear? Then how much years of limitation for raising a suit? It is 3 years. It is also 3 years because these are civil in nature, right? Civil always has 3 years, right? Then when it comes to here, it is stale check. How much months within which you have to deposit a check? 3 months, right? 3 months is the period within which you have to issue. Clear? Understood? Just a framework. If at all you have to raise any questions relating to crossing or relating to any dishonor, what sort of liability, validity, anything can be seen across, right? Good. Then who are these parties under negotiable instrument? We have seen these parties where drawer, drawee and other things. So they are insisting on the parties in an additional manner. The person who accepts drawee signing the assent on a bill will be called as acceptor, right? Who signs accepts it, we call it as an acceptor. Who is the payee? Payee is the person who named in the instrument to whom and directed it to be paid, whose name is there, and he is the person who is going to receive the payment. He will be called as a payee. Now the payee makes an endorsement to you, then you will become the payee, right? Then holder, the person whose in own name or possession to recover the amount due in his own name he is going to take, right? Then he will be the holder. So the first concept of holder may come in and subsequently the payee may come in, because payee is the person who is receiving the benefit. Let's assume I am being issued a check, I will become the holder of the check, but I don't want to encash it, I am transferring it to you. Then who will be the payee? I am the holder, you will become the holder in due course and you might be receiving the payment. The payment in due course will happen to you. You will be the collecting the amount, right? There is a difference between the holder and holder in due course, where you can see who is the holder in due course. The person who is entitled in own name is called the holder. His name is going to be there, right? But in case if he is transferring to him, somebody, transferring to his friend or a relative or anybody for that matter, a business associate. So the person whose name is not mentioned but is acquiring possession subsequently by way of an endorsement, we call him as a holder in due course, right? The possession for consideration has been passed on. So the original holder has to pay something to him, for that he has issued this check. And main concept of negotiation is to transfer to any number of times. The negotiable instrument can be transferred in any number of times. There is no restriction. Only restriction is when it should be transferred, before the date of maturity, not after maturity. Date of maturity, before that, anytime, any number of times you can transfer. So they say acquired before the maturity, and he has acquired in good faith without any reason to believe the other person has a defective title. Whether he has stolen from somebody, we don't know, so that can be taken into consideration. So the same concept of consideration, amount is being payable before maturity and no sufficient cause to believe defective title also was discussed in this case. The court also said all these three elements should be there to identify whether the other person is holder in due course or not. Okay, good. So here they are giving a difference between holder and holder in due course. Consideration, maybe without a consideration also he might have received it as a loan I would have taken, right? Must be for valuable, where you might have received something, for that you are giving it, holder in due course, because when I will be transferring the check to you, I have a liability already on to you, only then I will be issuing. The time of acquisition, before or after maturity, you can do. The payment has to be paid on a certain date. When I come to you on that day, you have to make a payment. Oh, okay, sorry, I missed it. So today I am dating it. Or tomorrow I will dating it. Tomorrow you can deposit in the bank. So it can happen. The issuance, acquisition can happen with the holder. But however, if tomorrow is the date or after 1 week is the date, between that date only I can do it, not after maturity. So it must be done before the maturity. Good faith, not necessary. Here it is mandatory. Title, no better title than the transferor, but here gets better title than the transferor. Why? Because he is taking it in good faith and he has no idea of the defective title of the earlier party, right? No special privileges. He enjoys special privilege. What special privileges? He can directly go on to suit with the respective issuer of the check. He need not follow the hierarchy. Say that, oh, who gave the check to me? The earlier person. I have to go to the earlier. Not necessarily. He can, in his own name, will be able to hold her in due course. We are giving him the right. We are giving him a better title. These are the special privileges to him. Even though you received from a person who has fraudulently acquired the check, you will still receive a better title because the law gives holder in due course a better position in that. Clear? Then, when it comes to payment in due course, where multiple transfer has happened, the final person who is having the check is depositing and is taking the payment, then the bank is bound to, or the person who is, even in the case of promissory note or bill of exchange, who is the person finally receiving the payment after innumerable transfers, then that person will be considered to be the payee and they will be paid the amount. That we call it as payment in due course, where in accordance to the apparent tenure and in good faith and without negligence to a person in possession who has the final instrument with him, right? So he will be the one to receive the payment, so that you call payment in due course, right? The payment to the right person at the right time in the right manner is with due care. For an example, the banker paying the check in apparent tenure in good faith without negligence, they have discharged their duty. Then they have made the payment in due course. Let's take an example. I have received a check in my name. In my name, I have received the check. I didn't want to deposit. I have an amount payable to you. I endorsed it to you. And you had a payment to her. You endorsed it to her. And you are going to deposit in the bank. Bank is going to pay whom? You. Bank is not going to doubt whether you acquired from the earlier party in good faith or he acquired from me from the good faith, or no one is going to question whether I actually acquired or took it from the road. Right? So bank will anyways make the payment to you if it has no doubt about the defective of the title. If at all there is a tire mark into it, which evidently says that it is a check which has been lost by somebody or so, you will even not accept. Sir, it's a tire mark having, maybe the bank might not accept, please issue a different check. Or you are accepting. She is also accepting. When she deposits in the bank, they will say, we don't think this is valid, madam. Please ask another check to be taken. So that is why they say without negligence. Negligently they have done it, then they will be responsible. Right? Otherwise, the payment in due course will be valid. The banker is also protected by the law. Clear? Then they are speaking about the types of instruments. You have to understood types of instrument. Types of negotiable instrument are how many? 3 only. We have seen that already. Promissory note, bill of exchange, and check. Right? Then when it comes to instruments, they are speaking about inland instruments or foreign instrument. What is an inland instrument? An instrument which is drawn or made in India. It is made in India or on a resident in India, payable on a resident in India, is going to be payable in India. So the person who makes is making it in India. The person who is going to be paid is also a resident in India, and it is paid in India, payable in India. I call it as a inland instrument. When these conditions are not met, where not drawn or made and payable in India, we call it as a foreign instrument. Clear? Then, what are the other types of instrument? One is ambiguous. Ambiguous means what? Confusing. We are unable to identify whether it is an unconditional undertaking or an unconditional order. Check we will be able to easily identify. Oh, check is being in the format. We have this. Bank is going to issue. We'll be having. Other two documents are in the nature of written form. Right? We are having a doubt whether to enforce it as a promissory note or a bill of exchange. In those cases, you have to make a choice how to elect. The person holding this in their favor, they have the right to elect this ambiguous instrument. If you once have elected it to be a promissory note, from there on it will be considered as a promissory note. If you have elected to be a bill of exchange, from there on it will be considered as a bill of exchange. Right? If there is a doubt in the language which they have drafted it, we are unable to identify whether they are construing it as a bill of exchange or promissory note, then it is up to the holder who may elect. Elect means what? Choose to be as a promissory note or bill of exchange. Once he chooses bill of exchange, he will follow that as a bill of exchange from there on. Once he chooses promissory note, he will be using it as a promissory note, enforceable as a promissory note. He cannot keep changing from one time to other. He has to make a choice and go by it. Instruments which are payable and demand, we call it as demand instrument. Right? So, where check is always going to be demand. But the promissory note and bill of exchange where no time is specified, we are going to call demand. If time is specified, it will be time instrument. Time instrument, right? Then what is an inchoate instrument? Inchoate means incomplete. Very good. Inchoate means incomplete. So it is going to be at the phase of the document itself, you are allowing another person to complete the instrument. So we call that as a complete instrument. So prima facie authority to complete for any amount covered by the sum. You will stamp it and leave the blanks. So the other party is requested to fill in that information and complete the document. That incomplete documents get completed by the other party. You are giving the right to him to complete the document. That document is called inchoate document. Right? So apart from that, what about the maturity calculation for time? Maturity calculation is basically on time. Time based instrument. So when the promissory note and bill of exchange, which is not being a demand instrument, will be having 3 days grace period, which will be the actual maturity date. Due date plus 3 days will be the maturity date. Date on which the instrument falls. Right? Excuse me. Yes. So the date at which the instrument falls due will be called as the due date. And when you add this grace days, will be considered as a maturity date. When the grace days is not allowed for certain instrument, which instrument? Demand instrument, there is no grace days. At sight. At sight means on seeing the instrument you have to pay. They will be saying at sight delivery. Cash on delivery we are saying that. Once you are getting delivered, then you have to pay. So similarly, the bills on exchange will be sometimes at sight. So on sight of it, you have to make the payment. You have to accept the payment obligations. So all those things will be considered to be where you will not apply. These areas will not apply this grace period. Right? In calculation of maturity, there is one challenge because we might be seeing 1 month. Right? So when we say 1 month with respect to 31st of October and we say next month 31st it is getting payable, is there a possibility you get it 31st on November? No, no possibility. So they will be conveying like if it is 2 months, 3 months, 2 months, the respective day, last day be considered as the day in which it is becoming payable, right? So that they are calling. So in case the period terminates on the corresponding day of the month as the instrument is dated, right, it will only accordingly dated it, right? So if the period stated is 3 months or the date of site, when it becomes at the end of the 3 months period end, it might be as 31st date or a 28th day in case of February, we'll be considering it. Okay, on the given date it is not getting paid. What do you call it as? The given date it is not paid. What do you call it as? Due, it is due, overdue. Then we call it as not being paid. It's dishonor, right? So once you dishonor, then you have to go for protest, saying that it is being protested, is not being able to be paid. So all those things will be considered. Good. The next concept is on crossing. Crossing is applicable only to what? Check. The concept is very simple, where you have two types of crossing, which is going to be general crossing and special crossing, when only these two lines are there. The end of it only we are putting two lines, with or without we are mentioning any text or not. If the only two lines is there, we call it as general crossing. What is the significance of crossing?
Only not be encashed.
Not be encashed, cannot encash. Encashed plus something has to be there. Encashed. So we'll have only the check for the purpose. We'll show everybody, hey, I have a check, but I will not encash.
Not will be collected and paid by the bank.
By bank account, right? Cannot be paid otherwise than on account. The language they use is can be paid only by way of an account transfer. So if you go by your language, it cannot be encashed over the counter. The counter you cannot get a cash for a crossed check. They will say that, sir, you have to deposit it. We will be able to transfer. If a banker negligently, there is a cross check which you are trying to give, trying to encash, he didn't see, he was speaking in the phone, he spoke on the phone and gave the amount over the cash to you, over the counter. Then whose problem it is? The banker's problem. There is a check which is crossed, he failed to be diligent, so it is his problem. So in case of a crossed check, what we have to understand is it must not pay otherwise than on the banker. Payment shall be not be made otherwise than on a banker. Only through a bank we will be able to make any bank. Only through a bank we will be able to receive this payment. That is for the significance of the crossing, right? So how two lines is there itself, it is enough. But when it comes to special crossing, two lines will be there. Apart from that, what you are going to have? What you are going to have? The banker's name. It's a banker's name has been mentioned. Then you call it as special crossing. Meaning what? Anyways, the crossing means you can take only through cash. Sorry, only through that bank, specific bank. You cannot take in cash. Is that right? You cannot collect the over the counter as cash. You can collect it only through a bank account. When it comes to special crossing, they are even saying which bank you can collect it. Only through this bank you can collect this. So that becomes a special crossing. So the payment of special crossing will say refuse payment if crossed more than one banker, where only that banker can be the one to collect it. Right? Right. There is a possibility of an second crossing which can be done by the banker. For what? He might not be having a branch in the respective place. He might require another banker to collect on behalf of him. The other banker will be called as an agent for this bank. Then the banker may, this crossing, the second crossing or the double crossing shall be done only by a banker, not by an individual. So if you look at who can cross the check, either it can be crossed generally or specially. A generally crossed check can be further be specially crossed. Already 2 lines were there. You are going to add name. Anybody can do that. Or you can add not negotiable. Meaning what? Not transferable. So you cannot transfer it to somebody else. Right? Even in case of a specially cross check, you can also add not negotiable. Right? Coming to the purpose of double crossing or second special crossing, what I told. Who can do this? Only a banker can do this. Banker to whom the check is crossed specially may again cross specially onto another banker. What is the purpose? Agent for collection. Agent for collection. When allowed only for the collection by the banker, private parties cannot do that. You and me cannot say another bank's name. Only a banker can refer to another bank's name, that too only for a collection purposes. Allowed only for collection of waivers. Private parties cannot use double crossing. Banker on whom it is drawn shall refuse payment if crossed more than one banker unless for collection. So if I am going to put 2 names, already that person put HDFC, I am adding ICICI and depositing in ICICI, they will reject. If at all somebody has to put, it is only the other bank, HDFC, to put for some other Andhra or whatever it is, for the purpose of collection. They will mention for collection as an agent. So in that way, behind it will not have enough space. Behind it, they will put a seal saying that we are specially crossing it for the purposes of collection. That can be taken. Right? Example, Ramesh writes a cross check to Mahesh, specially crossed to Punjab National Bank. Mahesh can only collect cash through Punjab National Bank. Because why? What is the type of crossing here? Special, because he is mentioned a name of a banker, then it is special crossing. Right? Then, with respect to the key provisions of liability, when it is not negotiable, meaning what? Not transferable. So, the taker shall not have better title than the person from whom he took it. So, he has no right to transfer it. Then he has transferred it, means the receiver of the check shall not be having the right to transfer it because he has been already restricted by the earlier party, that not negotiable. Then when it comes to the liability of the banker receiving, as I told, I took a check from the road, I transferred it to you, you transferred it to her, she went into the bank. Bank has no reason to believe that is a check attained through defective title. They have paid the amount to her. Whether later, if it is identified the check was lost, whether any responsibility lies on with her, no, she received it in good faith. So, the banker who receives it in the good faith, whether the bank can be questioned, even the bank cannot be questioned because it has no reason to believe that the check has a defective title. So, the banker receiving the in payment in good faith without negligence incurs no liability to the true owner if title proves defective also. It is both for paying back as well as the receiving back. Now here we are predominantly looking at the receiving bank because our account gets credited. Then they are questioning how your account got credited. This is a check which has been lost by a person and he has later raised a complaint. So, sorry, that is not my case. I received it from a person who has to pay me, I deposited, it got encashed. What is the problem here? I will not be encouraged. Clear? That is the meaning of crossing. Mainly, general, special and double crossing when it is required. Who can cross it? With respect to other 2 things, general and special crossing can be done by anybody, holder of the check, whether the maker of the check. When I am writing the check, I can cross it. I didn't cross it, I gave it to you as such. But you can cross it? Yes, you can cross it. You can even add the name of the bank so that it can be special crossed. Right? You can add non-negotiable, absolutely you can do. All these things you can do. But whether you will be able to do a second special crossing or a double crossing, no, it can be done only by a banker. That too for the purposes of collection agent as a collection will be processed. Clear? Remember that alone at least. Then the last part of Negotiable Instrument Act will be on the dishonor of check. When you call it as a dishonor, right? Insufficient. 138 speaks about insufficiency of funds. Insufficiency of funds can be again classified into two, where you have a account, right? You have an account that has 50,000 in cash, and you have been issuing a check of 75,000. Whether it is possible, credit is only 50, debit is coming to 75. Then they will say it's insufficient, the check will return, right? This is also dishonor. Or sometimes you might have an arrangement with bank, OD facility would be there. So sometimes this is, you are having 50,000, you have another 30,000 as OD facility. Whether this check will go through? Absolutely go through. There is no dishonor. What if this amount is going to be 90,000? 80,000 is only your credit plus overdue limit. It is crossing even more. Then we go for same insufficiency of fund. So both the cases, the check would be dishonor, right? Both the cases, the check would be considered as dishonor. Good. So they are saying under 138, a person who is affected by way of a dishonor can go for remedy under 138, file a case when there are preconditions. These four conditions has to be satisfied first. Only then you have the right to go under 138 and demand this to be given as a remedy. This is what? Remedy under 138. But what is necessary? First you have to fulfill these preconditions. Only then you have this remedy to file under 138. You cannot directly file 138. Before that you have to do this. You have to ensure that 1. You have deposited within the validity period of 3 months. Check is valid for 3 months, right? After that you call it a stale check. Old check, right? So you have to deposit within 3 months, right? And the insufficiency of fund has been happened. You deposited within the time, the other person didn't have funds, insufficient funds has been notified from other bank to your bank and your bank to you. You have received the message. Then what you should do? Notice to the person who issued a check to you. So that is to be done. This check dishonored, return memo shall be issued to the person, right? The bank will be giving it to you. Once you receive that, you send a legal notice to the drawer or maker of the check saying this notice has to take place within 30 days from the date of returning of the returning memo from your bank, right? Within 30 days you make this notice, and you will also give him how many days? 15 days time period should pay. So the story is like you deposit within 3 months and the bank says it is being dishonored. You receive a return memo. On receiving the return memo, is it dishonored? So within receipt of the return memo, within 30 days, you have to go to the drawer of the check and say that, see, whatever the check you gave, it has been dishonored. I'll give you another 15 days to make your default good. Please make the payment. Failing which, 15 days is also over. I have sent a notice within 30 days which is compliant, and I have waited for another 15 days and no payment has been received. Only then 15 days has to elapse. Notice, after giving notice, I cannot approach the court. I have to prove all these things. I have to give it to the court saying that, see, within 3 months I have passed it. And from the date of receipt of the return memo, within 30 days I have sent a notice of dishonor. And I have given 15 days time. And 15 days time also over. Now only I am coming to the court under 138. Please give me remedy. What remedies court can give? Either imprisonment of the other person for a period of up to 2 years. Up to 2 years. Can be much lesser also. Maximum is 2 years, or fine with twice the amount of the check, or with both. All or with both. Can be done. It can be 1 year imprisonment and certain amounts of check. Not necessarily twice. It is up to the court to decide. It is up to the court to decide. Clear? Clear? So this is the most important provisions of 138. Then coming to the interim compensation, sir, case is going for so long, sir. Can the party who is affected, who is not received the payment, can he claim for interim compensation? Yes, he can make an application for interim compensation. 20% of the total check amount can be go. He can make an application. Court has to be inclined. Court has to find a reason. Okay, it is necessary to provide an interim compensation. The court may order the drawer to pay a complainant, right? If pleads not guilty, an amount of 20% of the total check. When it has to be paid, court will pass an order, pay an interim compensation under 143A, right? So from the date in which the court orders the other person, who is the complainant, drawer, who is the drawer, whose complainant has to pay. Complainant is the person who comes to the court, complains, made the suit. The drawer failed in making the payment, right? So the complainant makes the suit for it, also for the interim compensation. On hearing the request of the complainant, the judge is going to offer, okay, drawer, please pay 20% of the check. He passes an order. From that date, within 16 days, he has to pay that. Sir, unfortunately, within 60 days, I could not pay. Then what you have to do? You have to come back to the court and ask, give me another 30 days. I was unable to pay it within 60 days, give me another 30 days. That is the maximum amount of time which can be taken. Right? On the other way, okay, fine, this is completed. Later it has been found that, no, he is not the complainant, made the complaint, but the drawer was not at fault. The drawer was not at fault. Drawer is acquitted. Acquitted means what? Conviction, acquittal is there. Convict means he has been confirmed as a wrongdoer. Acquitted means he has not been confirmed as a wrongdoer. It is in his favor it has been ruled. Then he has to get the amount back, right? So how it will be taken up? The same provisions there also. The court will pass an order for the complainant to return the amount to the drawer. Same timeline of 60 plus 30 applicable. They have to pay within 60 days from the date of the order, or you can go for an extension for another 30 days. The same provision shall be applicable. Clear? Clear? Understood? Yes. That's all for the Negotiable Instrument Act. Tomorrow we will have, before breakfast, we will complete the business communication, and post to breakfast we will have the MCQs. 100 MCQs we will be seeing, right? Same way, we would have already seen some. I'll not bring the same thing, it will be different MCQs, don't worry, right? We'll check that and we'll complete the MCQs by tomorrow. Similar to this timing, we will be maybe completing tomorrow also. You need not worry for farmers. Okay? Can we wind up for today? Any doubts? No doubts? Okay, we'll wind up for today. See you in tomorrow's class. Thank you.